makes it 5-3 for the Aurora Barbarians, but just showing how important staying on top of the laws of the game. The Barbs are going to have to be inside their own half. Is they just gave away 3 points inside their own 22.
5-3. We've got a real barn burner here.
Maybe early for the barn burning. There might be some smoke in the barn. I don't know. Maybe check the smoke detector. But that ball bounces without being touched by a Stoney Creek player, so it'll be a line out off the kickoff. And, oh, boy, I don't understand why that happens when you got 8 guys standing around, and they all look at each other and say, you getting it? No. And so now we got a line out instead.
No, it's a very basic error, isn't it?
Phil Jackson throwing in for the Camels. One of the best names in the Ontario Marshall Division, Camels.
Do you know how they got that name?
No.
Because of their ability to go without water, but not go without beer.
Oh, I see.
They were a touring side at one time that...
a modified version.
Oh, gosh.
Good big counterattack by Biohatti, and he's going to score a try off of a great sort of jink move there. He just froze a Camels player and in for his second try of the game in only 7 minutes, and that is Ibrahim Bouhaddi.
Boy, did he ever make that try look easy. And folks, they certainly aren't, they don't come that easy in this level of play. At the Premiership here in Ontario, normally where the defense is pretty strong. But there's a lovely step off his left foot. He's going through the middle, and he shows another step from off his right, and
he was threatening a couple of things, maybe a chip through, maybe an offload.
Yes.
And that was just enough to freeze the defender and go, am I going down low to block a kick through? Am I going over to take the drift? So, yeah, that's just, you can coach that kind of stuff, but generally with a player like this, you haven't. It's just something they do.
Good point, Doug. Running with the ball in 2 hands always has the defense guessing. If you've tucked it in, there's only one thing you're going to do, and that's try and beat a man. But you never know what's going to happen with the ball in 2 hands. Oh,
well, a bit of a clanker there from Bouhaddi. I mean, he's scoring the tries okay, but the kicking not going so well. So that will make it 10-3 with just 8 minutes gone in this game. And, the smoke's getting thicker now in the barn. So.
Yeah. I think the Camels will find themselves in a few minutes here.
You guys just scrambling, giving away balls, or even the simple stuff like not accepting the kickoff. Yeah,
that's a very basic mistake.
High floating offering and taken by Ott again, and he managed to find the handle, but it's bouncing around like a pinball out there. As finally advantage is being played, but the ball's going Stoney Creek side as Henry plays the first knock on by the Barbarians. And number 12, Josh McClarty, had to get out of there, and he didn't. And ultimately, I think that was the penalty.
The referees initially signaled in the wrong way, so there was a tussle for the ball. But very, very good decision here for Windsor, Sean Windsor, to put the ball. They're going to go for goal.
He was thinking touch, but now he's going to kick it. Now, with the modified role of referees now as being assistant referees, prior they were touch judges, was the call made by the assistant referee because he on the near side to say, hey, this player's not rolling away in the breakdown as we look at it on
let's have a look there. Yeah, so it's a very strong drive. Number 12 is on the wrong side of the ball.
McClarty,
and he's definitely slowing the ball down. So there's where the penalty occurred. And you're quite right. That could have been signaled in by the AR.
Because Joyce Henry wasn't in a position to necessarily see that clear. That's a beautiful kick
what a great
by Windsor,
kick.
And the flags go up, and DiGirolamo had to admire that as it just snuck in that left goalpost.
That's a right-footed kick. Boy, did he split the uprights with that one. It was a great kick. Just, 45 meters out, close to the 5-meter area.
So Stoney Creek signaling early that they're prepared to kick all day long, and plenty of teams have lost on an afternoon of penalty kicks as long as they figure out how Ibrahim Bouhaddi is coming available for try scoring whenever he wants, but that's an aspect they're going to have to shut down.
Dave Wilson takes the ball into contact. Very, very strong player.
And now the big man from the front row there, I think that was Ian Matheson driving through. And now big blast of the whistle from Henry. Again, players not rolling away, and she'll be obligated in another couple of instances to start going yellow card. That was an offside in that instance.
Yeah, and Doug, you're right. What we want to do is get these breakdowns settled pretty quickly. Otherwise, there's going to be a lot of stoppages here.
So Windsor gives that one a ride into touch.
Pretty
connecting. Good. Yeah, it was a good clearance kick to just inside the Barbarians half, about 48 meters from the try line, and they'll have the throw in.
A full line out they're going with as well. Be interesting to see.
I tell you, the line out has turned into kabuki theater sometimes with all the movement and ups and downs and shifting of players. That one was pretty straightforward, and boy, driving right off the line there. The Barbs pouring through, but the Camels holding on to possession, or have they? Leighton Chung doing his best to impose his size and girth on the team, and giving as good as he's getting there. Number 3 for the Barbarians. Looking, yeah, he's stepping right through, hasn't left his feet. He's done a great job. And now Windsor, he manages to get a high up and under away before he got knocked to ground. And that's the fullback, Buiahati. And he's immediately wrapped up and involved with a ruck situation. DiGirolamo now. Wide out to Sean Sinnell. DiGirolamo again. And now that's the fullback. We got another number 15, or is that number 13? That's Mike Neely. Yeah, 13. Threes and fives at a distance starting to betray me.
What an exciting passage of play. Barb certainly showed their adventure there, put it through the hands. Sean Windsor had absolutely no time when he put that Gary Owen up and under. He was taken out just as he legally was taken out just as he had finished his kick.
That's a great line out by the Camels, and now a drive up by the big prop Scott Deacon, wearing the number 1.
Oh.
Is that Dave Wilson again there making
No, the other back row. I believe that's Michael Rao.
All right. Great job by him.
Oh!
And there's a fight going to break out off of that a little bit, I think. That's Joe Krimker taking on the scrum half, Lucas Wright for the Camels. And that was always going to be a bit of a mismatch size-wise, a bit of a physics experiment.
Here we go. We'll probably have a chance to see this again.
As Windsor's indicated, he's going to go for goal. This one a long shot, but we look at the replay here.
Michael Rao strongly runs in. Ball's presented very well by the Camels. There, it's available, but there's an offside player coming in and just clearing the scrum half before he's able to have possession of that ball.
Good job by the replay to show just that instant where the scrum half didn't have the ball and the Aurora player left just a little bit early and just cleaned out the scrum half, Lucas Wright. Here's the penalty kick from Windsor, and it's fallen short in front of the post. Buiahati with a counter offering. That's not going to clear touch, and now it's Lucas Wright trying to gather that in. Quick spin pass.
David Jones, very experienced player.
Oh, and that just bounced out nicely so that it wasn't out on the full. Quality kick from Jones.
David Jones is a very, very experienced player. He's equally as familiar with either 9, 10 on his back, or for that matter 11 or 14. His father, of course, is one of the founders of the Camels, Ron Jones, who was involved with Canadian rugby for the last 40 years, or perhaps even longer.
Jesse Heyman doing the throwing from the flanker spot for the Barbarians. And boy, if we get a picture of Jesse as he's just stepping out, he's going to turn around. He works for the Movember campaign. It looks like he's got his mow on early in July. He's got a significant bit of shrubbery on his face there. The Barbarians setting up camp. Now it's a pick and drive by Leighton Chong. He's brought down instantly. There'll be another pick and go, this time by the second row, Krimker.
Ball's still a bit labored, isn't it, coming out there?
Yeah, it's not a flowing passage from the Barbs yet. Now that's a great step inside by the Barbarian McClarty, looked like. And now getting it out to the edges.
That was a great play by Nolan Ott, stepping through some of the defense.
He has played a lot of years of great rugby and doesn't seem to be slowing down at all.
No, he's a good player, isn't he?
Resnick into the line now. Now that was maybe Salvaggi, actually. And now there's DiGirolamo spinning out of the tackle. He had a good couple of pirouettes before he was brought down. Boy, he is still such a quality player in terms of looking for work and linking up, give and go, and always getting back to the ball in the breakdown.
Very strong man.
Tom McLeod, the scrum half, he tries to break through a couple of tacklers before he's stopped. And now another pick and drive, this one from Salvaggi.
This tactic's working well for them. Okay, we have a penalty. The signal that, it's quickly taken.
DiGirolamo seeing the opportunity there, and he links well with the fly half Snell. And now there's the outside center, Mike Neely. Nearly had a break for daylight before a couple of camels closed the road down for him. Now stepping inside is DiGirolamo, and he didn't get the pass away he wanted, but ball stays on Barbarians' side. Snell getting wrapped up now, the fly half. So they've lost about 5 meters on this possession. They need to control that ball, and they're going to pick and drive for a couple of phases just to test the Camel defense.
There's fastball, isn't it, Doug?
DiGirolamo now outside to Barron. Barron is dumped hard. Not before he gets that ball back cleanly in one fluid motion. Tom McLeod, quick service. Now he flings that out to DiGirolamo, goes back inside, right-hand pass. And the Camels defense is just driving back with every hit. There is no free passes for the Barbs. Penalty coming now. McLeod gets it out to DiGirolamo. Resnick, he tries to split a pair of tacklers. Just 15, 20 meters out now. Bit of a bounce pass, but it's gathered in. And that is Weihati. He's brought to ground now, and a good truck clean out by Ott. No one around. And now Ott maybe getting to that ball. He's got to watch himself. He's a bit of a wrecking crew out there.
Is he ever? No. It looks to me like we have a penalty on this. Our referee is not signaled. However, she's having a word with Sean Windsor, the captain of the Camels.
So it is a penalty for offside. Okay.
Okay. Very, very stern defense.
10-6 Barbarians are leading here, and they're going to opt for a penalty kick at this point, which, I suppose when there's 4 points in the game, you gotta take your points. But normally, I think if it was 0-0, they'd be driving to the corner.
I agree with you, Doug. I think what they're doing is just trying to build a little bit of a comfortable lead, and then they can start being a little more adventurous. Camels have been successful with their kicks at goal twice. Haven't had an opportunity to handle the ball in Barbarian territory.
We had a bit of a chip shot. Flags go up, and so that makes it 13-6 for the Barbarians over the Stoney Creek Camels. And we haven't called the volunteer fire department yet, but I think we've beat that metaphor to death anyway. The barn is not burning, but it might be soon. Looking at the Premiership standings, the Marshall First Division standings, Oakville Crusaders are 5-2 in first place. Balmy Beach just behind them at 5-1. In third place are very Aurora Barbarians in front of us with a 4-3 record. And then down in sixth spot is the Stoney Creek Camels. They're 3-3 on the season. So, they've won some and they've lost some for sure this campaign.
Well, that's not going to help them, especially when you kick a ball directly into touch.
Gary Whitley, that kind of stuff just drives him crazy. You got enough other things to worry about without getting the restarts right.
Yeah, Gary is ably supported this year with a fellow by the name of Kerry Byrne, a Welshman who still dons the boots for the third 15. I've had the pleasure of refereeing him. A man who certainly knows his rugby and has made a major contribution to the Camels in the last year or so. Very important scrummage here. Let's just see how these front rows go down. There's
Tom McLeod getting that ball.
But just a little bit of a shunt off of the ball from Camels, and they've succeeded in putting some good pressure on Barbarians.
Yeah, Ott's usually pretty strong with the ball in hand, but going backwards, it's not always going to be the case as McLeod tries to step through a couple of would-be tacklers. And boy, the Camels, look, they've stolen that ball at the breakdown now. And now a pick and drive by Jeff Grollo is on, but he doesn't go too far. But the Camels showing they want to play some rugby in tight, out wide, whatever variety you'd like. They're there for it. And Lucas right now to Windsor, and they've got a bit of a gap out wide.
What a great pass.
Superb job. And look at that. Oh, a bit of a collar tackle there out on the far wing there. Looked like Cody Taylor. And sorry, that was Andrew Porter out on that side. And the counter rucking at the breakdown. The Barbs trying to come through the gate, but there's going to be a try now by, who is that? The number 8.
Dave Wilson.
Dave Wilson. All of a sudden found a gap where there was none. And I think the Barbarian players were just in shock, like who had him?
Yeah, you can never write off the Camels. They are a strong team. Here we go. Here's the replay. Great pass out. Big Ian takes the ball on, and Wilson straight through the gap.
Just shook off one tackle. It wasn't even really a tackle. It was a shoulder on him. That was it.
Ian Matheson, number 3, did a great job in just holding that ball long enough that Wilson was able to come through like a train. Great try. Let's see.
This conversion would put them even at 13 all. So big kick here for Windsor, who's shown he can hit from 40 and in. So be very surprised if he didn't make this one. The kickers are like golfers, you know. They put the drama in there and splits the uprights. Sean Windsor, another 2 points, and it's 13 all. And yeah, I'm bringing hot dogs to this bar now. The fire started.
Now what a lovely swing. Almost when you were saying like the analogy of a golfer, he has a lovely, just nonchalant swing of his leg through there. Yeah, nice cadence.
So we've got the fullback, Ibrahim Bouiati, restarting this. And admittedly, Aurora's been better at the restart. These are great high kicks. And now look at that. That had to be a player in an offside position there. The first player touched it, it went forward, and then that player was in the offside position accidentally.
Yes, it could be a penalty, but the
accidental offside, then they're calling it. Right?
Yeah, accidental. So which is a much more lenient interpretation rather than being offside.
And significant for the Camels because they could be watching a 3-pointer go across with a tie game right now. So.
Absolutely. I'm really enjoying these scrums. It is a great contest. Camels have been strong on the counter shove.
McLeod gets that in. Yeah, look at the Blues pushing that back, and now service from McLeod out to the fly half Snell, and now out wide to DiGirolamo, and he may be a threat to score. No, the offload is going to net the score, and that is Mike Neely scoring in the corner for the Aurora Barbarians, number 13, the outside center. And really, I would give 4 of the 5 of those points to DiGirolamo for the setup there. He just waited, held, and had the poise to show when that pass was going to be made.
There's a nice little offload. Here's Girolamo just coming in. He's a strong runner, stands up the defender and puts Mike Neely away in the corner. I think I could have scored that one. That was a lovely setup by Marco.
But really, before DiGirolamo got it, it's the man that's going to be kicking the ball now, Bouiati.
Yes.
He's already got 2 tries in this game, and he made a big probing run to initiate that whole sequence. So
I agree. Bouiati's played very, very well, and I'm very impressed with number 10, Sean Snell. I think he's shown a lot of skill early on in this game. It'll be enjoyable to see what they do for the next 60 minutes.
So from the touchline, he struck that well. Flags stay down though, but a great kick. Sometimes they just look like a dog's breakfast because they've taken themselves out of the game. They just know it's such a hard kick that it just goes skittering away like a stone on a pond.
That's a very difficult kick for a right-footed kicker because the ball always has that natural tendency or the tendency to naturally curl.
Right.
So after being in flight, and of course there's a bit of wind, so a very, very good effort, but just coming up short.
So it'll be Windsor to restart this for the Stoney Creek Camels. It's the one team I don't think I've ever been to their home ground all the years I've been watching rugby.
They're playing at the new Salt Fleet High School, and club itself has probably drawn 80% of its membership from the high school program there. Very, very strong. Paul Bendakis is in charge of it now, but always had a very, very strong rugby program.
So the restart didn't go Aurora's way. They knocked it on, and as a result, it'll be scrum to the Stoney Creek Camels. And this is really a great position for the Camels to be in, especially when they've been showing some dominance on this shove. They're showing a right-handed alignment, steeped up back line, and they're ready to attack.
Yep. Wilson just got up to the gain line.
That's a first up attack by Lucas Wright. He's brought down immediately. And Stoney Creek showing they're up for pick and drive all afternoon long if that's what needs to be done from the breakdown. And then they'll wait for the gaps to appear.
Ian Matheson's got the ball now. I would not want to have to put a tackle in on Ian.
Windsor now puts the ball to his right foot, kicking out to the wing. Ivan Barron shepherds that into touch, and it will be a line out for the Barbs. About the only way you could really treat that kick. If he grabs that ball, it'll be immediately put out, and it'll be Stoney Creek throwing. So well played by the veteran.
Yeah, just a nice little weighted kick in behind the defense. That's an indication of the speed of the rush defense that Aurora are putting on the backs.
Heyman gets that into Kieran McSwiggan, which, if that's not a pub name, it should be in about 10 minutes. Meet you at Kieran McSwiggan's.
Kieran McSwiggan. Oh.
And McSwiggan knocks on there. Looks like I'm not suggesting he's had a couple of Swiggins, but anyway, Kieran dropping that ball, and
Kieran's not carrying very well.
Yeah. I might have to jump online and get that domain name locked down, I tell you.
Now, another unfortunate mistake has led to Creek having an attacking scrum. Just, what do you say, 25 meters out from the Barbarians line?
Oh, I think if I'm Stoney Creek, I'm licking my chops here, because
Yes.
this is an area where Aurora's sort of got to play back and absorb a lot of territory. If there's a kick through or you're putting power numbers out to the wide side, there's a lot of things to consider here.
Okay, we've got a stoppage in play while Big Ian Matheson has his right hand bandaged. Perhaps he's sprained, it looks to me like he's sprained a thumb, and just having it strapped up.
Yeah, so it won't flop around and cause him pain all afternoon long. I'm sure it'll still cause him pain, but at least it won't flop.
Now,
Barbarians drinking some water as well, and really the temperatures have really increased here late in the afternoon, so water much welcome after almost a half hour of play.
Doug, you mentioned the standings in the Premiership here, and Crusaders are on top. Last week it was they were handed a pretty rude awakening by the Toronto Scottish. Toronto Scottish were strong in the set piece, and they were outplayed by the fullback and 10 and 12. There was just some very, very good strategic kicking from the Scottish, very, very well supported by the whole team. So
the Scottish won that game against Oakville?
Yeah.
And I understand the Scottish beat the Balmy Beach for the first time in 20-something years.
Really?
Earlier in the season. So this Toronto Scottish team at 4-3, they might be someone to watch going into the McCormick Cup, and they did well in last year's campaigns.
Well, I was very impressed with the spirit that seems to be around the Scottish. I had the pleasure of refereeing their third team today, and they scored quite a few points against the Nomads, but the whole club was out to support their thirds. There's a lot of young players. Just a very
culture around the club, and a good downtown club.
Yes, and we need those.
Mm-hmm.
Now this will be a very interesting scrum. I mean,
the horses have been watered. They're hitched to the wagon now, and let's see what these big guys can do under these conditions. And the signal comes in for Wright to put that ball in, and the wheel is on, and now unfortunately a knock on by the number 8 Dave Wilson as he was bringing that ball at the back of the scrum, and so it'll be a Barbarian scrum. So good net result, the pressure they're putting on that wheel.
Okay, there's a bit of instruction coming in with the scrum slightly wheeling, it was very tough for Wilson to pick up and go blind, and that's where the play was going, against the natural direction of the wheel.
So this game 18-13 for the Aurora Barbarians with 10 minutes to go in the first half roughly. Put in by Tom McLeod, Doug Cross along with Steve Scott, bringing you Rugby Ontario action, Marshall Division style. And what a show these two teams have put on so far as Windsor steps through a tackle. Why, look at it. Look at him go, and he's going to get around the corner. He'll score. Sean Windsor all the way from 22 meters out. And there was no suggestion of a tackle coming on him. He just shifted his hips and dropped his left shoulder there and left his man gasping at where Windsor was.
This all comes from the scrummage. The turnover ball from number 8, Dave Wilson, and ball quickly fed out by Lucas Wright to Windsor, and Windsor just steps on the gas.
Sean Sinnell, the opposite fly half, had him marked, but just wasn't in a position to tackle him.
This guy is really something. I'm quite impressed with Sean Windsor.
And he, right at the end there, he sold a dummy pass over his shoulder that just froze Buihati, who was, you know, didn't have a real legitimate shot at getting him, but if he was going to maybe, you know, just hesitate, froze him for that one little bit, that helped him get across the line. And now we'll see if he can break this tie that we got right now at 18-all with a tough conversion kick, though better side of the field for the right footer. Second touchline conversion kick we've seen this afternoon, one for each team. That goes just to the left of the post, so we're tied up at 18, and this game is really turning into a tasty treat here.
Yep. Doug, there's been some really expensive turnovers here. That ball was won from a Aurora scrummage. We've seen spilt balls from both teams that have been really costly.
Buihati's going to get this one underway, and boy, his restarts are just great. Look at that high offering, and boy, a knockdown by Evan Smith, the second row, and Ott. Will Nolan Ott score from that mistake? He goes a good 10 meters gathering that in for Aurora, and now they're there in numbers. Gian Montino now trying to add his weight to the breakdown, and now it's going to be a pick and drive by the Aurora big men, and they're going to the left. Montino now 4 meters out. He presents the ball well. And now it's the flanker, McSwiggan, giving it a go. But that ball is just being turned away with every tackle. They're not making any ground. And now that's Jesse Heyman trying to break through. He's stopped short of the line.